Hi, I'm Lady Eyvor, Haldorf's daughter. I live in the Kingdom of Atenveldt in the barony of Tyrjeskethir, so mundanely Tucson, Arizona. Not exactly a place you think of for Vikings, but there are a chunk of us. And so today we're going to be talking about Nålebinding, which is a precursor really to knitting and crochet. You'll find it in a number of burials. Oseberg is the most notable, and then you'll also find it, there's a number of Egyptian finds for it as well. So what we're going to talk is Oslo stitch. Oslo is really what I think of as the basic, and it's from there you can kind of go for anything else. Learn it, make it work. The one thing I will say, if you do not get this immediately, that is okay. It took me a couple of years of on and off. It is totally fine if you don't get it. Just understand it. It's nothing against you at all. It's not that you failed the craft. You'll want to start for it, get a ball, yarn. If it's cheap, it doesn't matter. It'll be whatever. So measure out a couple of arm lengths. If you're just starting, I would say maybe two, like you can see it's from about my elbow to my wrist, and then just tear it apart. You can cut it if it's hard, but tearing, you end up still with some of the, you end up with a little wispy end, which is easier to join. And then take your length. I'm going to fold it up a little. I'm going to fold it up a little so that you can see, so it's not as long. And then, let's see. So when you've got it like this, so you've got it in the middle, and then you have a tail. It's kind of the working thread. If you knit or crochet, you've got the working part. This is what you're going to be, it's the end, and then that part's the working. Unlike knitting and crochet, you are not doing it off the ball, which means that you're going to end up using a lot more fiber than when you do knitting or crochet. I'd probably hazard at least 50% more, but don't quote me. There's a lot you can do, but the nice thing with Nålebinding, both of these will work. When it's done, I should have showed this before, you end up with kind of a thick fabric. It's pretty dense. If I were to put my hand in, these ones were made for someone with a hand that is slightly smaller than mine, hence this, but you can see it works up pretty heavy. And this is in Oslo, I think. I made these a while ago. But after you wear it for some time, they end up felting up. So you can see, like, you can't even make out the stitch here, but you kind of can on the top. So, there we go. All right. So, now back to the process. You have your needle, you've got your yarn. You're going to take it and hold it between your fingers like this. So if I hold it up so my finger can't see, lay it over your thumb, and then I usually use my pointer finger to hold on to it, just because you don't want it kind of fluttering around or anything. So take that, and then let me hold that down so you can see. You're going to wrap twice. So you see once, twice. And think of back. When you're knitting, back is towards your wrist, and front is off your hands. So you'll wrap twice. I do a longer tail because you're going to have to tuck it in, but once, twice. So you end up with just that one little thread behind your finger. Keep holding there. Turn it over. So now see you have You have one loop, two loops, and then you have your thread. And so for the first part of Oslo, take your needle and go away from you. Take it, pull it off like that. I end up kind of with this loop. A little odd doing it slowly, but pull it off. Got it there. Take it, twist, and slide under. Give me a second. I will do a couple more. So off, slip, like that, slide back. Take your very end, put it over your thumb like this, hold your finger down, and then twist 1 and 2. So that's what it looks like at the back of your thumb.
Okay.
Put your pointer finger down to hold it. All right, so readjust a little, and then for the stitch, you're gonna go out, twist counterclockwise, and you're gonna end up sliding under both that are still on there. So you can kind of move my finger down so you can see.
Okay.
Pull it through.
You keep it on the thumb?
Yep, keep it on the thumb.
Okay.
So twist, so through, out, twist counter, under, and then pull. So I'll show it from this front part 2. Twist, go. All right. Twist. Let me see if I can do one without my finger in front so you can see where it's going behind. Slide out. So like this. All right. So you see, you grab, and it'll slide. If it slides off while you're going, that's fine. Twist, and then see how it goes under the 2 of them? Under, and then pull.
And you're maintaining 2 loops around your thumb.
Yes, 2 loops and then that kind of trailing thread, which is when you're working on.
Okay.
So 2 tight loops and then, kind of a loose one so you can see. Now, you're going to, I'll do a couple quickly just so I can get a chain and you can see. All right, so you're gonna end up with this mess, for lack of a better way to put it. It's this kind of curly mess of, it doesn't look like anything. So how do you get those nice looking loops? You're gonna pull it. And you're gonna pull it out, you can see it's, pop it off my thumb. You can see like that. So that's where you're gonna end up getting the stitch. That's when how it shows up pretty much. So
mine absolutely does not look like that.
Don't worry, it took me a disgusting amount of time before I was able to get it to look decent. The first ones are horrific, and that is fine. You'll play with tension. It's gonna be weird. Yeah. Do not be discouraged at all. At all. So now, so I'll do a couple more slow. And since now I have a bit of a chain built up, I can just hold back here. You can see, pull, twist. There we go. We go like that. So any part of it, does anyone want to see me do again?
How much yarn do you use typically to start?
I will usually make my first maybe 2 or 3 yards. Like that's the length of wool or whatever fiber that I'm working with. It depends. If it's shorter, you're going to have to end up joining it
Right.
more often.
Do you just splice your yarn?
Yep, spit splice. So I'm going to be horrible. Get my fingers a little wet.
Yep.
You can see I spread it out
Right.
like that. Get it wet, and then on the other end, we'll just use this end for now. Same thing. I will usually just dump it in my mouth. If it bothers me, keep a glass of water or something nearby. You can do it, and then you'll put them together up here, and then just like that.
Okay.
So,
Melted splice. Okay.
yeah, and then you'll end up being careful for the next couple of steps of stitches you do with that, just so it doesn't break apart.
Sure.
But after you get through that, you can keep going at your normal tension. I have also, if you knit or crochet and know how to do a Russian join, I think it's also called a magic loop. It might be somewhat different. That works. I have done tiny square knots throughout it. That was both a wonderful plan and a really, really bad one. So yeah, so that is also doable. It's what works for you, what works on the fiber. Things that don't have much of a natural fiber content, you're going to have problems with the wet splice.
Right.
It's harder to work with. So on those Russian join, I've doubled up as I've gone through, like done a couple of stitches, just that same, I just laid them next to each other and then tuck in the ends at tuck in everything at the end. When you're first learning, or if you cannot find Nålebinding needles, the plastic yarn needles work. I have one. The plastic yarn needles work great. They are cheap. If you are looking for natural ones, I have bought them off of a woman who's no longer in Etsy, selling on Etsy, but you can find her on Facebook, Chestnut Tree Creations. I've bought from Hooded Hair. If you do search for Nålebinding needles, like on Etsy, you'll find a number of them. Yeah,
okay.
Etsy is great. Bone is my preference, but there's some wooden ones that are wonderful as well. The other thing you'll find is that there's a wide variety. What I like may not be what you like. So feel free to buy a chunk of them. Buy a chunk, find out. I tend to like ones that are probably about that big with a slight curve in them, but it's a personal preference. So yeah, anyone have any other questions, thoughts, anything you'd like me to show?
How do you recommend finishing off a project?
I will. Let me actually set up a couple. What I tend to do is, for lack of a better way to put it, tighten it and then just weave the end in. So I'll just get a couple of things done right now. Give me a sec. Yeah, probably too short.
And after that, can you show a join?
Yeah, I will grab one and I will do it on this camera as well. So, all right. This will work close enough. It's a couple of stitches. All right. Or not. Come on. There we go. Not the best. I'll grab it longer, but you can get a rough idea. Okay. So you'll take it, you have whatever it is, and literally just pull the end tight. So here we've got, I've got one here you can kind of make out. So I ended up pulling the ends tight, so just the it just kind of cuts down,
Yeah.
lack of a better way to put it, and then just wove in the end like I would something else.
Okay.
Just a couple of inches through, trimmed, and then we're good.
Is this the Oslo stitch?
Yes, this is Oslo. So other stitches are, if you've got other stitches, they'll vary based on how many loops you have on your thumb and how many you're picking up on the needle as you go through. So some of them you'll keep like 3 loops on your thumb, but you'll pick up when you turn back and you're going behind your finger, you're also going to pick up the loop you just made. So that's like mammon, and that makes it a more dense
Fabric.
Yeah, and those felt up, and they felt up heavy, and they are great. So, all right. So for joining, we've got both ends. You'll want to get them just kind of frayed out, and then here's the other one, and then get them wet. You know, it'd be horrible. As I proceed to get fiber all through my mouth. Not my most brilliant moment, but it works. Get each of them wet. Just something to kind of let them grab together. Lay them out like that. And then you're going to twist. Just twist between fingers. And then you've got it like that. So you end up essentially felting them together. And then when you get to that section on the needle, I usually do it when I have a very small amount left on the current piece I'm working on. Very small amount, and then you're just going to slide. You'll do the next stitches kind of smooth, not as tight as you normally would, and be careful as you go through, because otherwise they'll separate. Also, if you don't fray it out enough, I do at least like 1/2 to 3/4 of an inch, it will also more easily unfelt. And then you will be finding yourself, okay, how can I get this to work? Take stitch out, go. Because the other fun thing with Nålebinding is taking it apart. Unlike knitting and crochet, where you can very easily go back, you cannot on Nålebinding. The easiest way to get rid to, if you make a very serious mistake, is to cut it out. You are doing a series of knots. It is not fun to take it out. Ask me how I know. I once took out like 3/4 of a hat for my husband. That is something I will only do if I'm married to you. But you end up having to cut it out. It is a pain. So.
Can you show how to make a tube from a caterpillar?
Yes, I can. Give me 1 second here. Yeah, so what you're doing is you're making a ring is actually a really good way to look at it. So you've got it, you've pulled it out. So you have your caterpillar, and you're going to take it, and when you pull the caterpillar off your finger, you're currently looking at the rear of it, you've got the top part, then you have the bottom. So top and bottom. Let's tilt it over so you can see. So top is yeah. You're gonna end up grabbing it, taking it like that. A little ring. And you're gonna slide your needle through that top loop of it. So you end up, so it looks like that.
Okay.
So you pull that, and then you'll do the stitch like normal. So there, pull through. And then, so for the next, then you'll pick up the next top. We'll grab the next one like that. Go up, twist, back, and then pull. Does that make sense?
Yes.
Okay.
Right. So.
Yeah, so here is not the best, but you can kind of see how it goes. So you've got that, you're working in a spiral.
I was going to say, you're making a spiral.
Exactly. So if you look at hats, and of course I don't have the stripy hat with me. If you look at down at the top of hats, that's a really good example. They'll end up coiling out like that, which is great if you're doing like 2 color ones. It's fun.
How do you increase your coil?
You will put 2 stitches into the loop you just did. Okay, so you've got your loop here. You'll pick up that next one like that.
Okay.
You'll do your normal stitch. Come on. So I proceed to not be able to get it off my finger. Stitch. And then that same loop you've just put your finger through, you've just done, you're going to put a second stitch into it.
Okay.
Yep. And by the same token, if you want to decrease,
You skip one.
no, actually. Oh, well, you end up with somewhat of a lattice, and which you may be going for, but what you'll actually do, if you're decreasing, is slide through, you can see 1, you're going to slide through 2 stitches. You'll slide through 2. Yep, so you'll pick up, instead of 1, you'll pick up the next one and the one after that, and then do your stitch like normal.
This is vaguely like knitting.
Yes, there are ways it's like knitting. So to start, you've got kind of trailing thread here. You've got it through your needle like that, and then you're going to be looking at it reverse. But so here it is on the back, and then you're going to go once, twice. Again, working backwards towards your palm. I like holding my finger there, but you can see that's how it looks underneath. Slide my loops up to make it a little comfortable. You've got the front part. Then you're going to go here, go through, twist counterclockwise, and slide under. So there's that. We'll do that again. So you pull out, off, counterclockwise, under. All right. Did you catch that?
Yes, thank you.
Sure thing. So again, thanks a ton, everyone. I hope a couple of you got a slightly better idea of what you're doing. Lady Eyvor Halldórsdóttir out of Atenveldt. And I'm so glad that we've got everyone here. This has been a really fun experience with people kind of all over the known world.